Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Athlete Town Hall. I want to thank you all for being here with us tonight. My name is Courtney Cust. I'm an Assistant Athletic Director, and I guess I'll be moderating the event tonight. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone that you have a Q&A button, and we will be answering questions throughout the whole night. We have some people working behind the scenes, and also we will have a live Q&A session later in the evening. So to kick us off, we have President Scogan to give a welcome, and then he will pass it on to Athletic Director Tim Schoonveld to give the main update. Thank you again for being here, and President Scogan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Courtney. And just to echo what Courtney said, thank you all for joining us this evening. I just want to kick off by saying two things, and two pretty simple things. First of all, I'm sorry. And second of all, thank you. I am sorry. I'm sorry. I know how disappointing this is to all of you. We're heartbroken on your behalf. We really are. This was a tough decision to not play, to not compete in the fall. It was a decision that involved a lot of people. We consulted a lot of people, both inside and outside of the Hope College community. It was a decision we did not take lightly. In the end, and we waited, we waited a long time. We held out as long as we could. As you may know, the MIAA was one of the last conferences in the country to make the announcement. And so we held out as long as we could. In the end, this became less of a difficult decision and more of an unpleasant decision. And I make a distinction between the two. Sometimes decisions are very difficult to make because you don't really know what you should do. In this case, it became obvious what the right thing to do was, but it was very unpleasant to get there. And it's unpleasant because we know how disappointing this is for all of you. And so that was the case with this decision. Extremely disappointing, extremely unpleasant, but we believe that this was the right decision to make in order to protect the health and the safety of our broader community. So that's the first thing. I'm sorry for the disappointment. We will give all of you the chance to play via practice in the fall, and we promise to make that a good experience. You'll have the chance to work with the amazing coaching staff that we have here at Hope, and to learn from them, and also to learn from your teammates. I know in the end we're talking about practice and not competing. We're talking about practice. To quote the great Allen Iverson, who said, "Are we really talking about practice?" Yes, unfortunately, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about practice for the fall, but we'll make it a great experience. We will, I promise you that. As I said, you'll get the chance to benefit from extended time with our amazing coaching staff here. And as you know, we have world-class coaching staff at Hope College, and you'll get the chance to develop your skills and your techniques, and to benefit from time with your teammates. So we'll make that as good of an experience as we possibly can. And as we move into the winter and spring, we'll be creative with regard to how we think about reopening to competition, and we'll be flexible. There's a lot of answers that we don't have right now. We're still working through all of that, and tonight we'll be as open and as candid with you as we possibly can be, but we do ask for your patience, because we still are working through a lot of the answers. In the end, as I said, I know this is extremely disappointing for all of you. Ultimately, I believe we will come out of this, and we will be better, and we will be stronger, and we'll be better competitors for it. There's a great set of verses in the Bible. It's in 1 Corinthians 9. And Paul is writing, the Apostle Paul is writing to the Corinthians. The Corinthians are a very athletic, competitive group of people. Remember, this is the group of people that basically invented the Olympics. And Paul writes to this group, and he says, "Don't you know that in a race, all the runners run, but only one wins the prize?" And then he says, "You should run in order to win the prize." But then he goes on and he sort of redefines what the prize is. And he talks about running to win a prize that will last forever, running to win a crown that will last forever. And that's our mindset at Hope College. We play to win, and we do. We compete with winning in mind. That's our goal. But we also recognize that there's more to this world than this world. And that means we have a different kind of mindset. There's another great verse. It's in Galatians 6, and Courtney Cust if you haven't seen it, wrote a great blog a couple of months ago focusing on this verse. And Galatians 6:9 says, never get tired of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, if you have the opportunity, do good to all. And that's what we're doing here. We are doing good. We're taking the high road, and we're taking the high road in order to protect our community. To be clear, not all institutions are taking the high road, but we are, because that's our mindset at Hope. We're taking the high road, and I believe that the Bible promises that we will reap a harvest because we're doing good here. And I'm excited about what that will look like. So I believe that we will be stronger and better than ever because of this, but I don't want to gloss over the fact that I know this is extremely disappointing. So those are basically the two things I wanted to open with. One, I'm sorry, and two is simply to say thank you. Thank you for your understanding and for enduring with us. Our tagline is be strong, be true, and that's more relevant and more important now than ever to be strong and to be true. We're Hope athletes, we're grounded in hope. And we play to win, I know that, and yet we're also grounded in a different kind of mindset. So that's all. I'll stay on and can answer any questions, but just wanted to say those two things. One, I'm sorry, I'm disappointed, terribly disappointed on your behalf, and two, thank you. Thanks for your patience and for your understanding and for your grace as we move through this time together. So with that, Tim Schoonveld, I'll turn it over to you. Tim is our athletic director, and Tim, it's an honor to be your colleague, and I'll flip it to you.
Thanks, President Scogan. You know, I talk a lot. They say the speed of the leader, the speed of the team, and our team is moving forward because of President Scogan, and his integrity, faith-filled leadership is why we're doing what we're doing, and why I believe Hope is well positioned to come out of this tough time really in a good spot. So thank you, President Scogan, for your words and for your heart and for who you are. Hey, I would say I'm glad to be here, but I'm not. I'm sorry that we have to be here. I would echo everything President Scogan said. But our goal really tonight is to give you to answer as many questions as we possibly can. We've seen a lot of them expressed earlier, and I'll try to kind of go through quickly the answers that we have. And I think, as President Scogan said, there's lots of questions. The unique thing with where we're at now in athletics is there's not as many answers as there are questions. And we really are working under like three separate entities, right? So the NCAA is the umbrella we're under, the MIAA for the league, and then the college and local guidelines. And so we're really trying to kind of balance all of those. And like we expect some answers from the NCAA tomorrow on some things that will give us a little guidance and help the league. And so it just takes a little bit of time with everything. And so we appreciate your patience. I think President Scogan said it too. We want to be as honest and transparent and real about what we know. We're going to give you all that information tonight. If there's something that you don't get answered, please follow up at hopeathletics@hope.edu, and we will make sure that we follow up with you to get you the information that you need as best we can. So I think if you've been around Hope Athletics, obviously our tagline is be strong, be true, but we really have three pillars that we work under, right? And so academic success, as I've watched our professors, our academic teams right now, I mean, there's no doubt this fall we're going to have academic success, and you're going to get an opportunity to learn and to grow. I think that there's a great plan put in place for every, I think, really contingency. And so we're feeling like academically, like it's going to be a really strong semester for us, and we're great. The second pillar we have is competitive excellence. And, you know, that's the unique one, right? We're trying to win. So when you don't have competition, how do you do that? And I think the unique thing for me is competition for this fall is postponed. So the goal right now is that we're working to create schedules for next spring so that all of our teams in the fall are participating next spring, so that there is going to be competition. If you're asking today, that's what the plan is, and that's where everybody's kind of moving forward with. But you know, where does that go for us this fall? I do think that it's a pretty unique opportunity for a season of teaching and learning and growth individually, at small groups, potentially in larger groups, for us to sort of set the table to see where we're at competitively. And I think, I'm very optimistic that, the schools that make the most of their fall experience in terms of that teaching opportunity are going to come out the best positioned to be competitively excellent moving forward. And I think while it's not what any of us desire, I do think that it's a great opportunity for all of you as student athletes to be able to grow and to learn in your craft, whatever that is. The third pillar that we have, and I think it's what distinguishes us from other institutions, is transformational experiences. And we feel like that is going to be better than ever this fall. And I think the situation is actually going to allow for us to, for each of you to have more opportunity with your coaches. It may be different, but different isn't always bad. It's just different. And I think it's, the transformational opportunities that are going to be out there are going to be, we're committed to those. And we think that they're going to be excellent. We are committed to having you spend time with your teams. We're committed to having you spend time with your coaches, all within the guidelines, safety and health guidelines that are put forth by the college and the state. And so we really look forward to that. But I think those are really the three pillars, and they help guide us as we try to make some decisions that are out there. And you did hear some things from President Scogin. Obviously, the number one priority for everybody is to have this semester go in person all semester. And that's our number one goal for the college. In athletics, we're right under that. And so I think for us, that really led to this decision is we felt like from a health and safety standpoint, as we talked to the medical director from the NCAA, we talked to the medical director from the county, our team physician, our head athletic trainer, our athletic trainers, we felt like this was the best decision to be able to keep us in person all fall. And while it was terribly disappointing and I think unpleasant, as President Scogin said, we really feel like it was the best decision possible. If you've looked around the country, I think as we got to this place, really we were one of the last 3 or 4 conferences to make the decision. And what happened is you saw nationally a lot of conferences start pulling the plug or postponing their fall competitions. And then really within the last week, we saw, most of the Midwest do the same. And so once that happened, it really limited us in terms of competitions, in terms of who we could play, all those types of things. And so that's really why this decision, came down and why we made it. And so, again, I would echo, we are sorry, but I don't think we're sorry that we're trying to have a safe semester and in-person semester, but we're just sorry. As much as you guys love athletics, this is what we do for a living. Your coaches, all of us on staff, this is our livelihood, and we've spent the last 4 months trying to do everything we possibly can to be able to participate this fall, and it just wasn't meant to be. And so you have my word, and I think you have the word of our staff that we're going to do everything we possibly can to provide you with the best experience we can this fall in the context of what we're able to and allowed to do. And I know some of the questions have started to surround, hey, why are there other schools even in our league that are trying to play? I think one of the key things is they're trying to play. There's no guarantee in those types of scenarios right now. I think there's not a lot of schools that are actually able to play right now. So in terms of having schedules, and we again just felt like this was what was best for Hope College, and we're not looking sort of around or whatever. We feel like we have a standard of excellence, and that's what we want to do. And so we're sorry that doesn't allow for competition, but we are committed to a strong fall, and we're also committed to providing opportunities in the spring wherever that goes. And I know that leads to another question that many of you wonder, hey, what does that look like? I can't give you any answers because we haven't had really any discussions on what the fall sports moving to the spring will look like. But I can say that that's our desire, and that's where we're moving. That's the desire of the league. And that's also the desire of, I think, most leagues around the country. And so we anticipate in the next, maybe day to week that the NCAA will make some decisions on fall championships and what they're going to do. And then once they make those decisions, whether they're postponed, whether they're canceled, whether they're moved, all those types of things, then we can start determining schedules for the spring and what that looks like. And they'll probably be limited in some scope. Like it won't be a full-on season as you're maybe used to, but we are committed to getting you competitions and to being able to do that. So, the best I can do in terms of the timing and all of that is really to just let you know we're meeting daily and we're getting information. And as soon as we have information on things, we're passing it on to your coaches, who will then pass it on to you. And we certainly are available for questions if we could have that, but we don't have a lot of timing, or at least the actual timing of when we'll know answers. And I know that some of you winter and spring athletes, you're wondering the same things. What does this mean for you? As of right now, there's no change to your seasons. And as of August 3 at 7/17, there's no change to winter and spring seasons. We do anticipate at some point that there'll be some adjustments. I know some of you have questions in regards to, for the winter athletes, have questions in regards to what it looks like from Thanksgiving until New Year's. We haven't had any of those discussions yet, so I'm sorry that I can't give you more answers on that. But all I can say is we're going to be committed to providing the most transformational and in-depth experiences that we are able to within the context of the college and the county and local guidelines. And we'll communicate that as soon as we can. We do have a testing plan in place. The NCAA had some protocols for if you had competition, and then they also have some protocols for if you're just doing more practice opportunities internally. Our head athletic trainer, Tim Caberna, in just a little while will give you some more specifics on that. So if you do have questions on what that will look like, you'll be able to get those soon when I'm finished up here. In terms of practices, what will practices look like? Our hope, and all I can say is our hope, because we're still in obviously discussions in terms of how we put people through the logistics of sort of physicals and eligibility and how we transition everybody onto campus and different things like that. So our hope is, as soon as possible to get our fall sports out there practicing. And that's going to be a phased in process. And it's going to be able to offer you the chance to, most likely starting with small group opportunities, some team building activities. Hopefully we're getting some weight training activities. As you all know, gyms and fitness facilities are closed per the governor's executive order. So that's going to be, all limited on what we can do. But Coach Margaret's is really committed to making sure you have a great experience outside, doing some different things, maybe in the front lawn of DeVos, maybe in the parking lot at DeVos. And he's working hard to set up what they have. I can tell you that we do have phased in processes that will be out there and we'll be able to address as soon as we can. And as soon as the governor sort of opens things up, then we do have a phased in process, and that's really what we want. So we're hoping to do that. We have a return to play document that works on what the phase-in process looks like for each sport. We'd hope to get the fall sports going, and then depending on the logistics and physicals and all of the updates that we need to take care of, with a week to 10 days later, we would hope to get all of the spring non-traditional seasons going. So we're trying to get you going. The spring sports, obviously your non-traditional season has the potential to be a little bit more enhanced, at least in terms of number of days and times that you can interact with your team. And we hope that gives you a little bit better opportunity to just grow with your team. The NCAA has created a couple of waivers eligibility wise, and Caroline Dykstra, our assistant AD for eligibility and compliance, we'll share a little bit more about those things to give you some idea of how that stuff works. when we get to there. Two other quick things that I think I can address, and then maybe we can get to question and answer time. I know there's been a lot of questions about gym access. Per the governor's executive order, we're not allowed to be in gyms right now. So until that changes, we won't be able to get inside. But we anticipate and hope that in the coming weeks that will be changed. And we do have phased in plans that are ready to allow all of you guys to be able to get in there as you need to. And then there was some question about fall and tryouts. Tryouts are going to be different. It's going to be a different fall. Our commitment is really trying to provide you guys with a fair opportunity to show what you can do, while also not, dragging people along and making you, go through things that you shouldn't have to do. And so there's just some conversations that are happening. Each of your coaches will be communicating a little bit more of what they're going to be doing in terms of tryouts. We know there's going to be some flexibility on the coach's part. We ask that you guys handle that flexibility on your own part as you work through it. If you do have questions on that, you can certainly start with your coaches, and then we can try to handle some of those at a later date. So I think that just kind of, from my end, again, gives you some idea of what's going on. And I think I would echo President Scogin when he said, he turns his eyes to the Lord all the time. And one of the things in the spring when things got shut down and we had to cancel the spring sports, I sent a note to those athletes, and it just said, there's a verse in 2 Chronicles that says, oh Lord, when I don't know what to do and I feel like, this vast army is attacking me, I'll just keep my eyes on you. And I think that's really, it doesn't make up for our disappointment. It doesn't make up for the questions we have. But I think when there's uncertainty, when there's unknown, I think that's what our key is to keep our eyes on the Lord. And so I just, continue to say that with our staff, with our coaches. Please know that we are committed to providing a transformational experience for you. And we look forward to that. And again, it is going to be different. And it is going to be unique. But I think if we can all gravitate towards the different, towards the unique, towards the adventure, I think we can take hold of something. We can make sure we get ourselves better and transform this fall. And we can take that and we can be better moving forward in the spring. So it's great. I'm going to turn it back over to Courtney here, and then we'll have a little bit of question and answer. I know they're answering some questions all along. But Courtney's going to kind of lead us through some question and answer, and then we'll finish up here at some point. So thanks, Courtney.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so I think while we're pulling up a couple more videos or the group of panelists, I'm going to introduce them real quick, and then we will start our Q&A session. Again, you do have a Q&A button on your screen where you are have the ability to ask questions, and we'll make sure we either answer those through text or live here. So before we start, I'm going to introduce the other panelists that we have alongside Tim Schoonveld and President Scogin. We also have Tim Caberna, our head athletic trainer. We have Lindsay Engelsman, an assistant athletic director, and she is also currently serving on the COVID steering committee for the college. And then we have Caroline Dykstra, another assistant athletic director, and she will be answering questions on eligibility tonight. So to kick us off, I'm going to ask if Tim Caberna can just give us a quick update and a little more detail on the testing for student athletes and what is expected from a health and safety standpoint for our student athletes this fall. So.
Thanks, Courtney. Thanks, Tim and President Scogin for your unconditional support. Welcome to each of the student athletes and parents that are attending the town hall. Really, I want to reach out to both our student athlete group and our parents and dig a little bit deeper into what our testing strategy is here for the college for the upcoming semester. First and foremost, again, the college is committed to the healthiest environment possible and allowing for in-person class activity and co-curricular activities as they can exist under all of the executive orders of the state of Michigan and the local health authorities. Under President Scogin's leadership and the college, they have made a decision to baseline test all of our incoming students. And the strategy behind that is to allow for Hope College to start in-person class with a zero number of active cases on campus that can be determined through testing. And that is a tremendous undertaking to allow us to start at ground zero and then be in a management situation. So again, from a student athlete standpoint, it's imperative that you go ahead and open up your emails, that you read the testing information and the guidelines. Certainly, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to Campus Health at hope.edu. But really, that's time-sensitive information to allow for a safe return to campus and really get the school year from an academic standpoint moving in the right direction. From a student athlete perspective, again, as we move through this fall season, and we know that it's going to be unique in nature and not having a competitive feel to it, we are still going to respect the health and safety and monitoring of this virus as it relates to athletic activity. And again, through the college's support, we're going to have an in-season testing program, and we're taking the recommendations of the NCAA, where we'll be surveilling our student athletes that are participating in fall activities. So our traditional fall sports, our non-traditional spring sports seasons, and the start of our winter sports seasons, each of those teams will be susceptible and be participating in surveillance type of testing. The amount of testing and how the logistics of that testing will go will be explained to you more once you arrive on campus, but it will be, a very similar process to what you've gone through already with the baseline testing, or you will be going through with the baseline testing. We feel it's imperative to help ensure health and safety that there is a testing program in place, and we're monitoring, the virus status to the best of its ability. We'll also be having our student athletes complete a daily screening form. Again, that daily screening form will be asking them very specific questions on how they're feeling, allowing them to go ahead and disclose any information that we feel may need to be consulted with our student health center and determine if there's some intervention or an evaluation that needs to take place. So you'll be getting, again, some more information regarding the daily screening situation. Again, all of this is an attempt to allow for the safest activity possible on campus and to really continue to keep the broader campus community as safe as possible. The goal is to start the semester in person, and the goal is going to be to finish the semester in person. And we have all the mechanisms in place and are confident working through the guidance of the college and our local health professionals that we can ensure that situation to coexist. So again, questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to Hope Athletics or to Campus Health at hope.edu, and we'll continue to get you more up-to-date and current information.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim. Our next question, I'm going to send it over to Lindsay. Lindsay, if you don't mind just giving a little more detail into the phased in practice plans that we have and the specific model that we have approved by the college right now.
Sure. Thanks, Courtney. As President Scogan and Tim shared, we're committed to as in-depth of a practice experience and season as we possibly can this fall. So for each of our seasons of sport, that looks a little bit different depending on kind of where they're at. But for fall sports who would traditionally be competing right now, you'll be practicing with your coaches. And as Courtney said, it's a phased in plan. So our plan kind of works in sync with the state's reopening plans. And so as they're in phase 4, we're sort of in our first phase, which allows for socially distanced practices. We're taking all the mitigation efforts of masking when we're not in drills, masking when we can't maintain that 6-foot spacing, cleaning protocols and safety measures to keep everybody safe and healthy. For our winter sports, again, we don't have the timeline exactly nailed down as to when seasons will begin or if they'll be adjusted, but those will also be phased in. So as the state becomes more or less restrictive, we'll kind of follow suit with that. And then for our spring sports, who would normally have their non-traditional season, they'll just begin that phased in plan as well as soon as we get started. So we do have approval already to move forward with that. We've worked really closely with some local health experts and medical professionals, and we have a great relationship with the Ottawa County Health Director. So we met with him late last week, and he's given us approval to move forward with those plans, and we feel really good about them being meaningful and you know, able to develop our athletes both on and off the field, and really something for our teams to, like Tim said, at the end of this, come out better than, you know, than we would have been otherwise. And I think it's going to give us a good opportunity to prepare for what comes in the future.
Great, thanks. We've had a number of questions pre-submitted about eligibility and what that looks like for our student athletes, whether they're a fifth year or the opportunity for a fifth year, or if you're a freshman, junior, seniors, or sophomore, junior, sorry. So I'm gonna pass that over to Caroline, and she can talk a little bit more about eligibility for our student athletes.
Great, thanks, Courtney. I know that eligibility is kind of a tricky question, and there's lots of things that are on your mind. Obviously, everyone wants the ability to be able to complete all 4 seasons. So hopefully, as we can work together, we can make sure that we provide you with the fullest experience possible. As Scooty mentioned, the NCAA this summer passed 2 updates, really to be able to help our student athletes with eligibility during this uncertainty of COVID. And so first, the NCAA made the change to count athletically related activity by days rather than by weeks. So teams now have 114 days to conduct practices, games, leadership opportunities, anything that would be considered athletically related. And in a sense, this is the same number of days that you've had in previous seasons, but now these opportunities can spread out more than the traditional 19 weeks than you've had in the past. So we think this is a win because it's going to allow some more flexibility for our athletes to be with teammates and coaches during both fall and spring semesters. The NCAA also passed a blanket waiver that can apply to all student athletes during the 2020-2021 academic year. And with this waiver, it says that if a team competes in 50% or less than their scheduled games, student athletes won't use a season of eligibility. And as Tim mentioned, the MIAA is working to develop schedules for fall sports in the spring. And while we don't know what those schedules will look like, I can tell you that we are keeping this waiver in mind throughout the discussion because we know just how these conversations lend to eligibility and thoughts about you competing this year. So with these updates in mind, kind of the most basic answer is that if a team doesn't compete in more than 50% of their scheduled games, athletes can participate in practices in both the fall and spring without using a season of eligibility. And then that means that you could come back for a fifth year or a final semester. And the other thing I want to mention right now is I know we've had a couple questions come in just about fifth year and about specifically senior student athletes and just trying to figure out what that last semester looks like. I do want to remind you guys that there are some unique circumstances for your eligibility when student athletes are in their final semester. And so just a reminder that athletes have to be enrolled as a full-time student to participate with Hope Athletics. And this year, the same is true for that this year. So if you want to participate in the practice opportunities, you still need to be enrolled in a minimum of 12 credits, which is considered full-time at Hope. However, during your final semester, athletes can be eligible to participate as a part-time student if you're taking a class that's required for graduation or participating in what's called an experiential learning program, which would be considered student teaching or a required internship for your degree. And so that allows you some flexibility to come back for your final season and not have to be a full-time student. And so with that, if you're thinking about just trying to figure out how that plays out for your situation and for your class schedule, what it might look like for you to use your final season of eligibility during a fifth year or an extra semester, I'd love to talk to you one-on-one because each situation with eligibility is specific just based on what the class loads you're carrying and the degree requirements. And so feel free to send me an email to dykstra.c@hope.edu, or if you want to reach out to Hope Athletics at hope.edu, those will get passed along as well. But again, we just want to be a resource for you. We want to help you figure out your eligibility questions. And so if there's anything, just as you're trying to navigate this fall and even into spring semester, please let us know so that we can figure out what is going to work best for you.
Great, thanks, Caroline. Appreciate that. And then I also wanted to ask Lindsay if she could just speak briefly on facilities and gyms. We've got a lot of questions on weight rooms and what's allowed, what's not allowed right now. So I know it was briefly mentioned earlier, but if Lindsay, if you don't mind just going a little more in depth on that, that would be awesome.
Sure. Yes, as you may or may not know, both the Dow Center and the DeVos Field House are multi-purpose facilities. So of course they have the weight room, the courts, you know, the spaces that we in athletics use, but they also have classrooms and offices and some other spaces that are used for academic purposes. So the buildings themselves will not be closed. We have athletic training facilities in both of those buildings, but in terms of the fitness and recreational spaces, so the weight rooms, the courts, and the pool, those are closed as long as the state orders are asking for that. So right now in phase 4, the governor's still requiring that those indoor fitness facilities remain closed. And so as long as that's the case, those will be closed. But we are working and preparing now so that as soon as those open, we hope to be able to open kind of right on the heels of that. With some different setups and also just sort of probably different timing and scheduling, making sure we, you know, keep the numbers lower in those spaces. But we are hoping that comes soon and that we're definitely going to be ready for it when it does.
Awesome, thanks. So we don't have many questions coming in here. Again, you have a Q&A button at the bottom corner for you to ask questions, but we'll use this chance to just remind you all that if you have specific questions about your eligibility or your specific season, first you can go to a coach, and then also you can email hopeathletics@hope.edu, and we will make sure someone gets back to you very quickly with that answer. So I guess if there are not other questions right now to address, I think we covered a lot of the pre-submitted questions, and I appreciate you all for being on the panel with us tonight. But I will send it back over to President Scogan, who's going to close us out for the evening. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. I'll close us in prayer. Before we get to that, let me just again say thank you to all of you for your understanding and grace and patience with us as we move through this time together. We'll be together in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is our first day of classes, and I can't wait to have you back on campus. As others have said, that's our goal. Our goal is to start the semester and end the semester in person for in-person living and learning together. And it will be good, so good to have all of you back. Our campus has been empty since March 12th or whatever the date was. And that's not right. It's too long. It's not right for the campus to be empty, and certainly not right for it to be empty for this long. So I can't wait to have all of you back. It will be I know different, but we'll make some great memories together. This will be a semester, the fall of 2020 will be a semester that we will all remember for the rest of our lives. And I can't wait to have you back on campus. If you let me, maybe I'll even get to join some of your practices and we can do some drills together, and I'll show you some of my hidden talents maybe. But either way, it'll be great to have all of you back on campus, and I can't wait. Let me close us this evening with a quick word of prayer. Father, thank you for who you are, and thank you for your nearness and your faithfulness even through this time, and for what we know that the world is going through a lot, but we know that you are unchanging and you are faithful through all of it. We also know, God, that you are able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or even imagine. And so, God, we come before you tonight and we thank you for who you are. We ask that you give us your blessing on this semester, that you would allow us to start and end the semester in person, and that you would bless this semester. Father, I also ask that you would bless all of the individuals on this call tonight, and that you would bless our student athletes, that your favor would be upon them, and that you would give them joy even in the midst of this disappointment. God, I thank you for who you are. I thank you that we can trust you even in the midst of unchanging and uncertain times. In the holy name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thanks, everybody. Go Hope, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.